Hey all. So this is our war against Gods of War, fifth war of the season. Bans were Ghost, Torch, and Quake. I'm going to try and start saying those more often. I realize I haven't really been covering them, but they are relevant, so I'm going to fix that. The Torch part in particular is why that Nimrod on Vivified that you see here in this still is potentially dangerous. We thought about sending Nebula over here. Ultimately, because we were sending a Nebula elsewhere, I decided to bring Tigra over here because I know both of these fights are pretty decent Tigra fights. However, the kinetic transference on Annihilus does pose some possible issues there if we let it go on too quickly, because his special 1 is generally easier to deal with than his special 2. The other thing to consider is that last night was one of those nights. I don't know if anyone else feels like this sometimes, but I picked up the game, I started doing my duels, and I went, oh, I can't play very well today. It wasn't like, oh, I don't know these animations. It wasn't like I forget exactly how to do this. It was just like, oh, I am just off. And 15 minutes of duels later, it doesn't seem to be getting much better, which is a truly terrifying feeling. Because I know it's not the matchups. I know it's not like the tactical knowledge. It's my execution, and it doesn't really feel like it's getting better. So, just to speak to what I do when I get that kind of feeling at the back of my mind, because it sucks, right? Like, it's really terrifying because you're like, oh my god, am I going to die? Because I don't know what I can do here. I definitely need to take these fights. I do have one of the best options for it. What I try to do there is duel enough that not only do I have my plan A and even my plan B, but that I have probably made enough mistakes in those duels that I have practiced successfully salvaging the fight from as bad as it can possibly get multiple times. And then I boost higher than the sun and I head in and I take my fights. And that is going to be pretty much what you see today. So, just a bit of a spoiler alert on that. Keep that in mind for these first three fights. Alright, with that, let's head on in. Alright, so plan A for Annihilus is to play him similarly to how I do with Claire, to avoid blocking too many hits, and to start the fight off with a step back. So I dash back as he's charging in and counter with either a medium or a light. Both actually work against him, it's just a matter of spacing. Now, alternatively, if he throws a heavy like that, that gives me my window. Now, what you hope is that he hits into you immediately after your combo there, and then throws a heavy, and that then you can retaliate against that, and you'll have several ruptures up. What you hope does not happen is that he doesn't throw a heavy. He catches you on your dashback. Something about that dashback, I just felt like, uh-oh, that was too slow. He's going to hit me. And he did. Like I said, I was not on my game. So he hit me a few times. I triggered some extra buffs. I thought, you know what? It's fine. We'll throw the special 3. Fight's basically starting over, and this is like Tigra with an unboosted health pool, right? I've only lost 25%. Not ideal. But then this was the basic idea. It is possible to counter Annihilus' special 1 with Tigra's heavy and get all of the ruptures reliably, right? There is a technique for it. I did not feel super confident in this. I wasn't going to insist on it and die. I knew that if I could just keep evading the special 1s, build to my special 2 through combos, keep neutralize up to stop unstoppable armor from being an issue, that when I got to my special 2, because I was boosted so high, because he would have at least some ruptures on him, the fight was over. And that did end up being what happened. It's just like I said, I kind of had to reset the fight 30 seconds or so in there because I messed up. So hopefully that's instructive. So with Nimrod, plan A is going to be very similar to what it was for America Chavez 2 wars ago. Combo, because of Vivified, that pushes him to a special 1. Counter it with our heavy. Do that a couple times, build quickly to our special 2, throw it, do a bunch of damage, do it a couple more times, fight should be over. Something to watch for, because this is Vivified and we will be baiting more specials than normal, we could end up having a time where he changes protocols or the global timer comes around and we do not have Neutralize up. And that is actually why I didn't heavy counter that last special one. Now, I should have blocked it. I should not have dexed it badly like I did. But I intentionally did not heavy counter it because I felt like I was a little bit too close to the timers. And if I was wrong, if I was late by a split second, and he gained an armor up and went passively unstoppable, that could be how this fight goes from sloppy to a death. And so that is absolutely what we want to avoid, and that's why I just backed off there, because funnily enough, you saw those 2 armor timers. Now, I probably would have been quick enough to land my heavy and get Neutralize up before them, but both of them procced unstoppable. So it felt like a little bit of a gamble. I wasn't quite confident enough to say, you know what, I do have time. So I backed off, meant to block, but ended up eating 1 hit from the special 1. But when I got back up, I had my special 2, the fight was over. We just had to wait out those passive unstoppables, and we were good to go. So, obviously I don't like getting hit, but that was the last Tigra fight, so I'm totally at peace with that one. Moving on to Dr. Doom here. This is only a rank 3, which feels pretty good because I've been seeing a lot of rank 4s here lately. And basically the plan here is the same as it is against Doom and with Reed for almost everyone on this node. Try and hit mostly with stuns up, because then you get the bonus from the Petrify Mastery on top of your suppression, and you should be gaining more power than they are. That's why you see we got to our special 2 at about the same time that he was at, like a bar and a third. And now when we hit into him with a stun up, he's gaining 80% less power, because we have 50% from 2 suppressions and then 30% from Petrify. That makes it really easy, unless he decides to be really rude, to keep him throwing his special 1s. We just block them, because while we would heal from the shocks at this point, we just don't want to deal with the rogue passive stuns and heavies, so we just keep building up. At some point, I might intentionally trigger a shock, but we're not going to worry about it here. We're just going to keep blocking those heavies, or keep blocking those special 1s. So we're fully ramped here. We're reducing willpower. That's doing quite a bit of damage. There, I actually fail to push him to his special 1 because backup recovery triggers, and we reverse it. Trying to go ahead, build up to our special 3. I don't know exactly what happened there. I just seem to have dropped my block in the middle there, and he caught me, stunned me, heavied me, and of course it crit, so there goes half my health. That's the most dangerous thing about Doom here. It always is. Thankfully, Reed's a rank 4, and that was the only thing that happened. So, like I said, I was feeling fairly off this night, but boosted appropriately, and this fight is simple enough. Down he goes. So, on to section 2, where, funnily enough, I'm kind of glad I did those harder fights earlier, because if I had waited to feel better, I caught a slight case of food poisoning around the time I recorded these next 2. It's just one of those Saturdays, man. Anyway, we have these 2 fights on Path 5. Both of them reward intercepting, and both of them, the primary challenge is auto-blocking. So who's good at countering auto-block and getting easy intercepts? I know there's more than one answer, but I'm going to use Killmonger. So this is not the fastest fight. Guardian does have significant bleed resistance and takes less critical damage, both of which are just extremely annoying when you're trying to kill him quickly, because I'm sure most of you know, if you have a long enough fight against Guardian, at some point you may be risking messing up that special 1 evade. And then if he does his pseudo crit, the shock damage really hurts. However, Killmonger does have one big advantage here, which is that even though our crits are getting nerfed, because we have True Strike up, we are doing consistent damage. It's not high consistent damage, but we are doing consistent damage. We're getting the Fury from the node itself, and we are bypassing his armor. Have to deal with the fact that he reduces our crit damage, have to deal with the fact that he reduces our bleeds, but we aren't worried about his armor, and so we are making good time here. It's been, what, not even just about 90 seconds now, and we are 2/3 of the way done. It's a little bit hard to gauge exactly how this fight is going because you either have the protection up and you're not doing a lot, or you have the Fury up and you're making good progress. But this fight is going absolutely fine. We were fast enough elsewhere that I'm not worried. I think we also had a massive lead on time, and the important part is just that this is super safe. We even have enough real estate to push up to the Special 2 several times, get those indestructibles, just in case I do mess up the Special 1 evade. I dueled for it for quite a long time, but, you know, just to be safe, we have those indestructibles so that we don't have to worry about the base damage if he hits us. We're keeping our counter punches up so that we can easily get the Intercept to get the Fury, also keep our nice open windows. The counter punches also make the Special 1 slightly easier or safer, because if you are not perfect on the beginning and you block the first hit, you can easily dex out, and it really drops the chances of the game doing that thing it does where it's like, oh, did you mean to drop your block? And then you eat every hit of the special except the first one. So, really nice ability there. And then Overseer should be a very similar fight, but a lot safer, because we're going to have willpower healing from those special concussions. We have class advantage. Yes, he has Mighty Charge, so our bleeds won't stick, but that's okay because he doesn't have crit damage resistance. We're going to be doing so much more against him, and we ourselves are going to be safer, because on top of that willpower healing, his specials just aren't dangerous, right? So this one is a very nice, relaxing last fight of the war. I love that I jinxed that. I actually forgot that that happened. But that's why you use the indestructible boost, right? Like, that's, again, I think the theme of this war is that sometimes if you are just not feeling great, if you know that you can't be your flashiest, most impressive self, what you need to do is prep enough to get the truly bad mistakes out of the way and boost appropriately, including indestructible boosts, so that if something like that happens, you can laugh at it looking at the video later instead of apologizing to your team about it. So, really getting a video in that here. It's also not necessary to do this dash in thing that I'm doing on Overseer's Special 1, but personally I prefer doing that just because I don't like getting backed up. Killmonger is a tempo character, and if I can keep the tempo up, if I can keep them against their wall, I feel like it's going better. So as you can see here, for the second war in a row, BG3 overall didn't die at all. We got the donut, the perfect 165. I am just so incredibly pleased with the BG's performance. Like I said last time, like, the plan can be good, but it is up to every single person to execute, including myself, because you saw how some of those fights, the execution could have been a little cleaner, and if I had not boosted well enough, if I had not prepped well enough, if I had executed a bit worse, then I could have died even with great matchups, and that goes for all 10 people. Additionally, I was taking the lead on this plan, but I made a couple significant mistakes that, my BG mates caught and pointed out. And so we fixed them, we had alternates. That's why I've mentioned before, but it's been a while, when I put out the plans, I always tag everyone in the battle group and then write review and discuss. And I write review and discuss every time, both so that I can search for those in line, but also because I really mean it. I want people to look over the plans and call me on it when I mess up. And that definitely saved us yesterday. So again, just really proud of where BG3 is right now. It feels like we're in a good groove, and I hope we can keep moving that forward. Additionally, for Savage Squad overall, we only died 3 times, matching our best performance ever. And no shade to Gods of War at all. This was a solid map with what they had, but their rosters were not as deep as some of the others we faced this season. So, like, yes, we had slightly fewer challenges, but the same thing I said earlier, it's up to all 30 people to execute. So, extremely, extremely happy clearing all 3 maps with only 3 deaths. That is always going to be a good thing. And if we lose with that, then the opponent earned it, right? So, hope you guys found this one interesting. I know we're all excited for the release of the Battlegrounds beta this week. I will definitely be doing some of that. Hope to catch you there. But until then, thanks so much for watching, and take care.